Alright, good evening everyone. Getting the light set up here while we get started. So tonight is we're going to be doing one of the models that I get the most questions on when I go to my local GameStop or anything like that. It is by far the most requested model I talk about. It is the Imperial Knight. What I got right now is one of these. It's the Knight Canis Rex. Already put some of it together to get some sub-assemblies going, and it is actually a very nice model. It does have some little tricky spots, but as far as putting it together, ease of use, ease of magnetization, this is actually a fairly easy model to do. So let's go ahead and get started. So what I purchased to do this magnetization, I've done a couple of these in the past for people, but if you look on here, I'm holding the package. Let's make sure we get in focus. But it's from the Imperial Knight Magnetization Kit, grade N52 coating, from the magnetbearing.com. So in this kit comes all the magnets you need to do your magnetization. It's a real nice kit, real simply set up. It comes with 4 1/2" by 1/8" inch magnets, 2 3/8" inch by 1/8, 2 5/16" by 1/16, 2 15/16" by 1/8, 4 6mm by 2mm, because let's face it, what would we do without messing up the metric system and the standard system together, 10 1/4 by 1/16, 4 1/8" by 1/16, and 2 1/2" inch by 1/16 inch. So that's kind of what we got there. So it's a real nice, easy to do kit. Gives you all the magnets you need. Not only that, on the Magnet Bearing's website, it's $12.99. That's pretty cheap just to get all the magnets you need in the exact magnets you need. So let's go ahead and get started. Looking at this assembly instruction or instruction book, you can kind of see got some nice graphics art on the front, but what we're looking at is there's many variations to this kit. I think 7 in total. Yeah, 7 here, and so there's many variations, and if you've been playing Warhammer for any time, you know the variations change as the rulebooks change. So this is a model that I definitely recommend magnetizing. 1, it does get changed quite a bit, and 2, it's actually fairly easy to do. So on this, I went ahead and did the first couple steps, assembling the leg, assemblies, the torso. Haven't glued those together yet. On this though, what I'd like to point out, on this bottom step, part 83 to 84, do not glue that yet. Do not glue that until you get the magnets in there. It just makes life a whole lot easier, saves you some drilling, and just makes life so much nicer. So, what does that look like? Well, we got our legs here, as you can see. We got our torso here. As we can see, it's been glued together. It's gonna go together something like this. Then we got our, as you can see, there's a hole there. Well, that gets covered right here. And if you want, you can glue that on beforehand. And then we got this little ball piece with the end sticking out, which will actually seat into our assembly for our magnet for our Knight. But as you can see, there's a little bit of wiggle room in there as it goes together, and you can actually, if you don't have to glue it and you don't have to magnetize or don't have to drill it, you can actually still use this to give you a part of joint and a little bit of posability. So let's see what we got. Waist to torso, you get two 3/8 by 1/8 magnet. That is these guys right here. So, you got an extra one in here. But if you see, they do fit in here pretty nice. And they're going to stay in there because once we get it in there, we're actually going to glue this part in. And it's going to be pretty well set. So, let's go ahead and pull this apart. And like I did here, I kind of dry fit all this together to make sure it was nice, looked good, no issues. Just noticed a spot I forgot to sand. So, go ahead and knock that out. Getting rid of some of the mold lines and whatnot. So, this is pretty simple. Like I said, this is one of the parts that if you accidentally glue it, a nice little hobby saw, razor saw, whatever you would like to call it, works great to cut this open, make a nice clean cut, and put the magnets in. So, let's go ahead and get our plastic liquid cement glue. Go ahead and run a bead around here. So, like I said though, this model is one of those nice models. It's a big model, easy to magnetize though. It has a lot of customizing that you can do. And maybe my glue would like to work today. Okay. Glue 1 doesn't work, we'll try glue 2. Glue 2 wants to work today. So, go ahead and run a bead and put it on. Let that set for a second. So, a couple options here. We have the base plate that I'll show you. That's right here. Fairly large base plate. As we put our model on it, and we look at this, we're going to have a guy here, leg going like that, leg going like that. Get these magnets out of the way. So now you can see that. Kind of have the magnet going like this. So what you can do though, is you can actually run a magnet in each one of these bottom of these foot and magnetize it down to your base. What that allows you to do is you can do some basing on this. You can change it out. It also makes it kind of nice to transport. Don't have this large base. You can pull when done. The legs will come off. The torso will come off. Pull that all off. So you got a nice, easy way to transport this thing. So go ahead and get this back assembled how we'd like it. Something like that. So got a nice dry fit going there. So go ahead. Do not use your liquid cement for plastic model glue or your plastic glue. Go ahead and get some super glue. Go ahead and run some bead in here to get the magnets going in. So right now, these are the first two magnets we're putting on, north-south. These are also the two hardest magnets to change once you glue them in. So part of the reason why I do these first is because everything else is going to come off of these two. So and as you can see, as of right now, we haven't done any drilling to get the magnets in. So go ahead and run a bead in, get a good amount of glue in, drop our magnets in, make sure they're centered, and just let it set up. Just for a quick second. We don't have to wait all that long. One of the other tricks you can use is grab the other magnets that come in this kit, and you can see that it will kind of pull down into the center as you pull through. Gives you a nice base to set up on. Okay. Then you can find something around your desk that will hold it nice and straight. Okay, so now let's look at gluing this together. Get your pose how you want it. Make sure you got a nice dry fit. Do any sanding or whatever you need to do to get a good solid fit. So then take your glue and run a quick bead. Maybe. So as you run the speed though, you can go ahead and glue it together, potentially, if you can get the glue out. So one of the other things though, while I'm talking about it and trying to get this glue out, we can look at is picked up while I was getting this night magnet kit going, picked up these little paintballs, for lack of a better word. Kind of throw them in your pots, and allows you to pretty much just mix up your paint. Actually really like them, surprised. Kind of just bought it on a whim, but definitely liked them. They're pretty handy to have. Don't know if they're a must-have, but definitely like them. What I end up using them in is my mixing mediums and stuff like that, but like I said, just a couple little ball bearings, a magnet. Really nice to have. Like I said, I picked those up when I got the night kits. So like I said, glue that in, let that set for a second. So go back over to our handy little ball that's going to glue up on top of here, and we'll run a bead for it. So take a bead, run it down. So just like that. Glue it in, let it set up for a second. So now we're going to move over. Well, this is drying. We're going to move over and looking at our torso. As you can see, our torso is going to go together like this. If I can get this to look right. Wrong part. Wrong side. And this one will go over onto this side. Just like so. Kind of see it goes in there nicely. Fits together real nice. But I don't recommend putting these sides on yet. Reason why? It's a lot easier to get to the center point and glue everything on without those sides on. Do recommend doing that dry fit though that we just did. Make sure everything goes together nice and neat. Look at your gap lines. See what all you have. But just like I said, just a dry fit. So the torso to the waist are the 2 1/2-inch 16ths. These two guys. So they're just going to sit right up on top of there. Right like so. So what we're going to do to make sure we put them in the right spot, like we done before, is set those on just like so. You can see that that's going to hold that real nice and pretty tight, actually. To give you an idea, I'm able to pick up the model, turn it on its side, turn it to this side, and it doesn't move. So these magnets are going to hold just fine. So a lot of people have asked me about that. You know, how well do they hold? They hold very well in gameplay and everything. So go ahead and get them back into place. Get it roughly eyeballed, centered, all that good stuff, and then run a thing of glue around it. Okay. So go ahead and get a thing of glue going. So when you do this gluing, you want to be careful not to get any in that hole. If you do, wipe it off, get it out of the way, Because what you want to kind of do is just hold this over. You don't want to glue this together. You want to make sure that you have a good spot. Let this dry on its own. Just set it off to the side. Don't touch it. Okay. So far, as you can see, we haven't drilled anything, which is really nice about this kit. Really nice about putting this night together. So this had a little bit of time to set up. So we're going to go ahead and move this off to the side. We're going to flip our base plate over, flip our guy, put our guy on it. Okay. Kind of get a rough idea where these are going to be looking at. So when we put magnets on it, how is it going to look on the base side? Because I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Yeah, you can see that. There's a small little grid pattern. So you want to be a little bit cognizant about that. So you don't try to put your magnet right on a cross or right on a little raised ledge. Very easy to avoid. But I promise you, you don't look at it, you will find a way to hit it. So just go ahead and move your knight around, see how he's going to fit on there. I think our knight's going to fit something like that. Kind of like that. So then I flip it over, look at it. Alright. That's how my knight's going to go. Kind of looks like that little pose there. So for the feet, what we have are 4 1/2-inch, 1/8-inch magnets, which are these guys right here. To give you an idea of the strength of these guys, if I can get them apart, I can give you an idea. I put 2 on one side of my hand, 2 on the other side, and it kind of stays there. So that's pretty good strength there. So what we're going to do is we're going to separate these even further and look at the bottom of the feet. If you look, that magnet fits very nicely in there. Very, very nicely. So, do be careful with these magnets. They are metal, they clink around, and every once in a while you will accidentally chip one, but for the most part, magnets are pretty heavy duty. Just do be careful about that with these larger ones. As you can see, I'm holding this one. I got one on one side of the finger, one on the other side. So they do hold. They got quite a bit of strength there. So, got a couple options on this. You can alternate the magnets. So you got north on one side, south on the other, and you're just done that way. Or you can put them both in the same way. I'm going to put them both on the same side. The reason why I'm going to do this is just thinking in the future, let's say I want to put this all in a nice kit, magnetized kit. I have a base to go off of, and if I magnetize my play surface or my carrying case, I don't have to worry about north-south. Then I can just put it together. So put a drop of glue in both of these feet, and then drop a magnet in. So one in, and then what I would do to make sure I get the same direction going is I take my smaller magnets, which have less force, and I know they're not going to pull my magnet out, and I'll check the polarity. Okay, those stuck on, so that's how my magnet's going to go in on my other foot. So I will take one of my large magnets again, stick it to it, and then push it down in this other one, and let that set up for a second. So now our feet are setting up, we got a base setting up, and we got our leg and torso assembly, pretty much our leg assembly done all the way up, and our torso pretty close. As you can see, that's stuck in there. I was able to pull these magnets right out. So now, kind of look at where I'm going, flip it on its side, put the base on it, get the other magnets out of the way, because you can probably hear them clicking, and probably heard that click. So now I can move this around just a little bit before I glue it and get my pose just the way I want it on that base. I like that. I can flip it upside down. We'll be able to flip it upside down once the guy is fully built too, which is nice. And we will glue these magnets in. Okay, So for me, I'll just put a bead of glue around the edge, bead of glue around the edge, bead of glue, and I'll hit it with some kicker so that it dries real quick. They went almost a light. So hit it with a little bit of kicker, and we're good to go. Alright. So that is kind of the basis start point of this. I'm going to divide this video up into a couple parts, mainly because it is a lot to take on. And the next couple parts we're going to be looking at are putting the shoulders together, gluing everything else together. And when you get that to this point, you do want to make sure you glue these in, these sides here. And you want to make sure you get those set and thoroughly glued and dried. Give that time to cure. Just makes everything go a lot easier in the long run. Just a thing I've had. If you got the time, spend it. It'll save you a lot of heartache in the future. So I'm gonna glue these on. Do some other things with it. This is also the point that if you're really looking at it and something to do, it's also the point you can look at inside this cavity, putting batteries, fiber lines, lights, whatever, whatnot to get it in. If I find a kit and I can't think of it off the top of my head, I'll link it in my video on YouTube. But that's where we can actually go in, and this cavity, as you can see, is a pretty large cavity that we get for this night. And it will go in, put it together, and like I said, this will be a really nice cavity. If you want to put a battery, watch battery, whatnot, run some lights out to it, fiber, do the whole thing, this is the time to do that. So like I said, this video is going to be divided up to a couple parts. Next part, we're going to be tackling the arms, the shoulders, and then the third part, we're going to tackle the very difficult, actually not so difficult, go through the kit on how to magnetize all those weapon assemblies, all those arms, go through it. Very easy. Like I said, the nice part about this kit and this magnetization kit that you can get from Magnetizing and this model, little to no drilling. So thank you very much. This video will be posted up on YouTube shortly. I also have a Patreon account below if you anything's appreciated. Comments are very appreciated as well. And like I said, if you guys have any models you want to see in the future, thinking about doing some larger models that people talk to me about at my game store, usually like a Bane blade, stuff like that, lots of variations on that model, lots of potential, and you really don't want to buy 2 or 3 of them. You don't usually run those in your army 2 or 3 wide, so you usually want the flexibility of those models. Also coming up is one of probably the more difficult models I've ever magnetized, which is the Necron Wraiths. That is a very well done model, but it is got a lot of options and not a lot of places to hide magnets. So I'll be going through that in future videos. So again, thank you guys tonight, and hope to see you guys around. Thank you.